Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Super Feeler podcast. My name is Lori, and I'm super excited today to be joined by Alana Hil, who is a wonderful singer who has BPD. Spoiler alert, not surprising. You can find her on Spotify, anywhere you can get music. I'm just a Spotify girly myself, and you will see so many songs of hers that kind of, even just the title, give BPD, like Love and Mental Breakdowns, Heartbleed Over Coffee. Like, there's so many things where you're just like, yeah, this girl gets it. Before we get started, I would love to thank our new Patreon member, Nicole. Thank you so much for your support. For those of you who have the ability, if you can support on Patreon, it just gives a small monthly donation to help keep this work going. So thank you so much, Nicole. Okay, Alana, it's so nice to have you. I was listening to your music all week. It's absolutely amazing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, just generally?
Yeah. So I'm based in Los Angeles. I grew up in Kentucky and I've always sang my whole life. But I started taking it more seriously, I guess, in college. I went to study music in Nashville.
Cool.
But while I was there, I started to realize, so in between that part, my mom married or was engaged to a preacher or a reverend from African Methodist Episcopal. So I was introduced to like Black gospel music. And that's kind of what helped shape my voice into something more soulful. And then I studied music in Nashville. And while I was there, I had a harder time getting gigs because I sang more soulfully. And Nashville at that time, anyway, they were like, it's a little too soulful. I don't know what to do with you.
Right.
So after I graduated, I decided I would travel. So I moved to Maui and I saved up some money, moved to Maui. And then from there, I was like, I was there for a while. And then I was like, I just want to keep going and be nomadic. So I moved to Northern California and I got into a culture, a counterculture, if you will, that uses marijuana, like trimming and growing seasonally. So I could fund my travels every year. So I would go and save up a bunch of money and then I would move to India and then I would do it again and then I would move to Australia. And from there I moved to Aspen, Colorado and I lived in a teepee. I was training pack goats and I was growing my own food and really diving into more of a spiritual way of living in, union with the earth and still traveling a lot. I lived in a van in Australia, and then I started busking. I lived all up and down the East Coast, and then basically I decided I would move back to Maui, and I lived on a sailboat for a little bit. And
You've done it all.
I'm
Literally.
I'm a kind of a gypsy.
Nomad for sure. Yeah.
But my time started coming to a close when I realized, I'm approaching the end of my 20s and I really want to lock down my passion, which is music. And I knew that had to come with some sacrifices, which means that I couldn't just be a feather for the rest of my life and flow with the wind. So I had a plan. I was like, okay, I'm going to save up X amount of money. And pandemic happened. So I went up to Northern California, luckily, because, we're in the woods and isolation. And I got to work on a marijuana farm for a year. And I saved up enough money to move to LA and not have to work a regular job. So I was able to really immerse myself in the songwriting culture and go to as many sessions as possible. So I've been here in LA since 2021 and things are going great.
Oh my God. You did all of that before you were like 30? That's
yeah.
wild. Wow. That's so cool. I mean, I'm like, okay, well, let's talk impulsivity. No. So, okay, you did all of that before you were 30, which is unbelievable. At what point did borderline personality disorder come into your life?
So I had experienced this particular, these symptoms since probably about when I was 11. And I didn't know what it was. I grew up in a home that was very dysfunctional. So my normal was the up and down, watching that with my parents. And you are a product of your environment with, especially they say like from 1 to 7 are the most formative, important years for how
Mm,
your brain chemicals and chemistry kind
yeah.
of start working. So
And that's all you know.
I, that's all you know. So
Yeah.
that was normal for me. So basically was going through life, and it is interesting in the way that so my nervous system, I have a lot of anxiety, and that is separate from BPD. I mean, it kind of all plays together, but
Yeah. Like, how do you differentiate them all? It's
it,
hard, right?
right. It is hard. But so BPD really shows up in my intimate relationships with men. And I think that might have a lot to do with, watching my parents or whatever. So I just around 11 or 12, I noticed that I couldn't have, when you start having a boyfriend, I couldn't have a boyfriend without fighting or like provoking them or just like the up and down. And that was just my normal. So I've never had a unhealthy relationship where it's just smooth sailing and we can talk about things. And then my recent partner, he is a bit older and more mature, and he's been through some things and done hit work on himself. So he finally was like, "You have two options. We're either breaking up or you're gonna go see a psychiatrist because this is not normal behavior." And
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh, interesting. Okay, well." I'm super down to see a psychiatrist because I don't want to break up. And I
Yeah.
also had never thought about that before
Mm,
of getting like maybe some clinical advice. So I went and I did the whole shebang, the whole diagnosis test. And yeah, he was pretty clear as day. He's like, "Oh, you have borderline personality disorder." Because yeah. So that was in 2 years ago.
okay, cool. And did you know what borderline was?
I had no idea.
I was gonna say, like, as a person who's never like thought like sought out psychiatry, like if it was somebody else that kind of told you to do it, I would have thought you wouldn't have known. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I had no idea. I just thought, oh, this is normal. This is love. I mean, you don't think about it
Yeah.
because this is what I'm used to.
100%. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I, honestly, like, good for that guy for saying like you've got two options. I'm usually not a huge fan of ultimatums, but that's not a bad one.
It's
Kind of
not a
helped
bad
with
one.
self discovery. Yeah.
Oh, man. And it's helped me in my life. So,
Hmm.
period. Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you like look up BPD right when you got diagnosed? Like, did you see anything bad? What was that process like?
So, immediately we started a few things with my psychiatrist. I started um, different variations of psychotherapy. We were working through DBT,
Hmm.
um, which is something designed specifically for people with borderline, but it
Yeah.
also anyone can do it. I mean, it's like self-help, like wiring your brain to see yourself more clearly, I guess.
Yeah,
And
like giving you like
yeah,
life skills to be able to
yes,
really function like a in society. It's so helpful.
yeah. So we started DBT therapy, and then I started doing EMDR.
Mm,
Um, and I researched a lot about, and I read a bunch of books. So there's my favorite one is I Hate You, Don't Leave Me.
yeah.
I
That's
love that
everybody's
one.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh man, every chapter. I sent it to my mom even, and I was like, you have to read this book so
Mm,
you can better understand me. And she goes, oh honey, I this too.
yeah. Well, it's
So,
usually like that. My dad's like that too. When I got diagnosed, he was like, "Oh shit. Okay. Maybe
mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm,
me."
mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And do you take any meds or anything like that? Or what's the kind of long-term treatment thing for you?
Yeah, so I do take medication right now. The goal, obviously, because I mean, I'm sure you talk about this a lot, but the borderline, unlike bipolar, is what do they say? It's can be cured. It's curable, I
Yeah.
guess. You can,
Yeah, totally. You can not be
yeah,
on meds for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So I am pairing my EMDR DBT with medication right now. I'm on a mood stabilizer, and I do have some other medication to help when I have panic attacks and stuff. So
Nice. Yeah.
as
Totally.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like I love that you said, you know, BPD is treatable, blah blah blah. Because when I was diagnosed, it was 12 years ago, and that was not the thought. Like it
Oh,
was like, oh, this is forever. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's not true, obviously. And
yeah.
even without treatment, like a lot of the time BPD kind of dissipates over the life course.
Yeah.
But it's just cool for somebody who has just gotten or I say just gotten diagnosed. I know it's not that just, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, for sure.
To have like such a different perspective of and more accurate perspective of what it looks like. I love that. Um, and how does BPD influence your music and your creativity?
Oh, 100% influences everything, I would say. I'm so
Yeah.
emotional. The beauty and something that I'm learning to really value and appreciate about it is because I'm so, even with like the brain scan, right? Like the emotional side of my brain is just lit up, lit up, lit up. And then the logical side of my brain, which could be like, oh, this isn't really that big of a deal. It's not really there. So,
Yeah.
and it's funny in real life, maybe not the best. Like if I'm at the grocery store, like that sometimes isn't always the best thing. But when it comes to my art, it's such a beautiful thing, right? Because I'm so in touch with how I feel emotionally, that I have to look at it and say, there is a gift within this diagnosis or this thing that I'm dealing with. So it definitely plays a huge role in my music, um,
Hmm.
and in the way that I write. Most of my songs are
You
about
write all your
that.
own songs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's listening to them, honestly, you're just like, yeah, this person gets me. It's
Yeah.
like it's clear that we've got something in common, which is really awesome. And what
Yeah.
would you describe your like you said soul earlier,
Hmm.
kind of genre type of music, like what's that like?
My genre is soul, pop, um, R&B, country. It's like a fusion of a few different things.
Mix of all the things. Yeah.
Yeah, mix of all the
I feel like
things.
I hear some Adele in your voice a little bit. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
heard that before.
I
Yeah.
get that a lot. And I want to talk about that because I do get that a lot. And it's pretty interesting because I've gotten, Amy Winehouse and Adele and a lot of
Hmm.
people from the UK. So I looked it up because I was like, you know what? This is so weird because I didn't grow up listening to them. I grew
Right.
up listening to, so it's weird that we would have a similar voice because I'm not influenced by them. So did my digging. I love research. And I grew up listening to soul music, Aretha Franklin, um, you know, uh, all the greats. Sam Cooke, it's early, so I'm having a little hard
It's
time
very early.
thinking.
It is
Yeah.
stupidly early. Yes. Agreed.
But I they all went to the Brit school, like BRIT, it's like capital, but it's for like performing arts. And so Amy Winehouse, Adele, Ray, they all went to the Brit school, Olivia Dean, and they study song form and they study Aretha Franklin and all of the old soul from the US, which is so interesting. That's what I grew up on. So I'm like, huh, we all have the same inspirations. And maybe that's why
Totally.
I sound similar.
Yeah, I am so obsessed with Ray right now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Um so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense because they're inspired by the same people you are, even if they're learning it like in a completely different way, right? Which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
when you look at your life now, actually no, I'm gonna skip that question. What's your music career like? I mean, it's I'm sure a very stressful endeavor. Move to
Mhm.
LA, you're trying to break into an industry that's like very hard to break into. You've got amazing talent. What has it been like for you living there?
It's been beauty and pain all in one. I mean, I love the the I guess dedication that I see from
Mm,
people in my field, my craft, um, kind of just dedicating everything to that, and that is really inspiring for me. So basically, I always say I live in LA to work because I'm not a city gal. I prefer nature, but I'm here to
yeah,
work, and being surrounded by people that are just like so dedicated, it helps
right.
me stay very dedicated. And this is my 9 to 5. This is what I do every day. I train.
Hmm.
I have a whole thing that I have to do every single day. Your
Yeah,
voice is a
that's
muscle.
awesome.
I train it every day. Um, But yeah, it's been really cool to watch myself grow, and I
Mm,
have like goals and stuff, and I'm really, really working on my performance. That's a big one right now, especially with like AI and all these things coming into play.
yeah,
Making sure that you have a really strong stage presence and can connect to your fans face to face, I think is so valuable. And I think all artists really need to hone in on their performance skills because that is an art within itself. There's so many different layers. There are live performers, there are studio recording artists, and
yeah,
then there's so many different aspects of it. But when you can blend everything together, that's money. So that's
totally.
my focus right now is making sure that I have all the tools. But it's been really good. I was lucky enough to meet pretty early on a really strong support system
Hmm.
that saw something in me and invested in that. So
That's amazing. That must
yeah.
feel so good to have somebody kind of in your corner because I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't been recognized yet and there is nobody in their corner and they're just kind of like hoping to find someone. And because the person that found you, they've been with some pretty like big names, right? The person that you're working
Yes.
with. I
Yes.
can't remember
Yeah.
the names off the top of my head, but
Yeah. Prince Board is who discovered me. I was in a club and I was singing and he heard me and he kind of pulled me over to the side and was like, "Hey, wow, do you do music?" Because he heard me singing and I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying." And
yeah,
then I had made a little EP in my room, an extended play, like a little album, and I sent it to him and he called me and he was like, "You did this?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I had to learn during the pandemic, had to learn how to
yeah.
produce. And he was like, "Wow, I like it. Come into the studio." And so I didn't
Mm,
know who he was and I didn't even look him up. And so the funny thing is in LA, this has happened to me like especially my first year, like, so many times people are like, "Come to the studio." And you're like, "Oh,
yeah,
you get there." And
yeah.
at first you're like, "Okay." And then you're like, "Okay, you're in a garage." And then they're like
Yeah, you're
trying to
like,
kiss
this is
you.
creepy as hell. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I was like, by this point, by the way, I was about to move home. So I was here for a year
Oh,
and I was like, I ran out of my money from that I had grown the weed like we
yeah,
discussed. And I was kind of like, I really don't want to just like get a job and be here and get
yeah.
stuck. And I was like, I don't know if this is for me actually. So I was going to go home and the universe was like,
Mm,
nope. Like
nope.
literally, I called my dad and I was like, can you help me get a U-Haul so I can move home? I was like going to go back to school or something. And
Yeah.
then the universe was literally like, nope. And then I met Prince like a couple days later. And where was I going with this? Basically,
You go to his place and
yeah.
it's not a creepy garage and he's not trying to
Oh
kiss you.
God. No, my God. It was a studio, like a proper studio. And there were plaques on the walls with like, Black Eyed Peas and Christina Aguilera and all this stuff. And I was like, were, were you a part of the Black Eyed Peas? And he was like,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, do you wanna and I'm like, "Oh." And then
You're like,
he's like doing
okay.
stuff on the computer, so I just like Google his name beside him and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God. I've been blowing this guy
Yeah.
off for like 2 weeks."
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, but anyway, funny story. I'll continue. We got in the booth. He was like, "Let's see what you got. Like, go sing something." And I did a little thing and I came back out and I was like, "What do you think?" And he was like, "If I'm honest with you, your rhythm is a 2 out of 10. Your pitch needs a lot of work." But he was just shooting it to me straight,
Yeah, which is
and
good.
which
That's
is
what you
good.
need, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, "But you got the thing that you can't teach.
Yeah.
It's something I can't explain. Is that you can't teach that." So he's like, if you're willing to work on that, then we'll get you a deal. So we can cut you a record and you can have money to live on and all that stuff. So I was like, done. So I started training. I started
Yeah.
doing all the things. So
That's amazing. So do you do any like shows that people can like that I can promote like on the podcast? I don't know. We have listeners literally all over the world, so it's hard to promote things because it's like you could be in Scotland. Like I don't know. It's just
yeah,
like random, but yeah, other than
yeah.
like looking on Spotify and that kind of stuff.
I'm going on tour at the beginning of February in Europe. So I will send
Ooh.
you all the dates. It's a full month,
Yeah.
like pretty much every other day of a show. So
Oh my God, that's amazing.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I would love to send that out to people because there's definitely some people in Europe that I think would absolutely love you. And yeah, I'll make sure this episode comes out before that then, so that we've got all of that kind of organized.
Yeah.
And do you do ever tours in North America?
I've never done one yet. I'm excited
Okay.
to. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
little
like, you've
harder
got to.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like
Yeah.
big. Like weirdly, Europe is so small in comparison.
The market, music and marketing, it's so interesting because
Mm,
if you listen to music that comes out of America versus in Europe, it's almost like it's switched like in the 1950s and 60s and so all the things here were really soulful and like earthy and I tend to make more that music,
right.
and it does better in Europe. Like my listeners
Hmm.
mostly come from Europe. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, well, hey, whatever. That's awesome. You get to go
Yeah.
travel Europe. I feel like your
Yeah.
little nomadic lifestyle is probably going to love that.
Oh, yeah. It's meant to be. This is
Yeah,
my dharma.
totally. Oh, that's so cool. And honestly, like, I totally hear you on the wanting, like, not being a city girl and being like, I've got to live in the city. What, now that you kind of have more of a setup, like, you have somebody that's working with you, like, do you ever think about leaving LA or do you want to stay there now that you've kind of like made your place there?
I will definitely be splitting my time. So my dad
Yeah.
has a farm in Kentucky
Mm,
that is absolutely beautiful, and I grew up on it. And he built me a studio there, like a pretty massive studio with like two bedrooms and um,
cool.
yeah. So I'm going to be going back and forth a lot, and I really want to get horses so I can ride and do all that stuff. So yeah, I'll be splitting my time between here and Kentucky.
Awesome. And are you and that boyfriend still together? The one that
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
we are.
cool. So what's
Yeah.
that relationship like now that you've kind of you had that ultimatum and then you were like, "Okay, I'm going to figure my shit out." Like what's that been like?
It's been a roller coaster for sure, but he's so understanding, especially because he's in communication with the psychiatrist and, he shows up
Nice.
and because I think it's so important for someone who doesn't understand somebody who is maybe, I don't know what you would even call this. It's so weird, all the words and
I know.
terms, but
I'm like whatever it is.
yeah,
People like us, we get it.
yeah,
Everybody listening to this
people like,
podcast gets it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard when you don't have those issues to fully understand. So he does talk to my therapists and psychiatrists and they tell him like, this is what she needs and he does his
Hmm.
best to show up. But of course, you know, people do have to have boundaries as well. So he sets his
Totally.
boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good though, right? Like I think sometimes people are afraid of setting boundaries with us because of our
Hmm.
reactions, and so the fact that he is like, "No, I'm going to set boundaries anyways." That's actually ideal.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though
And
in the moment it sucks, but you're like, okay, that made sense. I calmed
oh,
down.
it sucks so hard. Yeah, no, it's the worst, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day it is technically the right thing to do. And like they got
Yeah.
to take care of themselves too, right? And you said your childhood was pretty chaotic, but it also sounds like you're still pretty close with your parents. Is that am I reading that right?
Yeah, it's a recent thing.
Oh,
It's getting
cool.
really cool to what the more the work that I do on myself, the more understanding I can have for them and just be like, oh, well, they just did the best they could with what they knew. And
Yeah.
my dad almost passed away this past year, and
Hmm.
luckily I was visiting him and he had been coughing for he said like a few months and then all of a
Oh,
sudden
wow.
because he was coughing so much he like pulled a muscle in his back like really bad on his left side and
Hmm.
he like fell on the ground and like couldn't walk so I had to like take him to the emergency room. I'm going crazy thinking oh he's having a heart attack, but it turns out he had
Right.
his entire lung was full of fluid. He had pneumonia. We didn't realize how bad it was, but he
Holy
was
shit.
in ICU for 2 weeks and in induced coma.
Wow.
And they drained his lung, and now he's back. He's good. He's doing really well. And after that
Wow.
experience, after he got out of the hospital, I flew home and like took care of him for a couple weeks. So we've gotten really close, which has been really beautiful.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, like, obviously, like, shit circumstance, but then to kind of realize that, like, oh, maybe we do need each other at the end of the day, and like being able to rebuild that would be really nice.
Yeah.
And then what about your mom? You said you mentioned your mom.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom and I are definitely closer. I am learning to understand her more and more. And both of my parents have shared with me now that we are getting closer really traumatizing experiences that they had when they were growing up. And I'm like,
Mm,
oh, this makes total sense why you acted like that.
yeah.
And back then, even they didn't talk about mental health. That was so taboo back then. So,
Yeah. That's great. And are they together? No, right?
no, 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 no.
Okay. Which is probably for the best. It sounds like
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I mean, I just always find like the family dynamics in BPD so interesting because they definitely all contribute to how we came out at the end of the
Yeah,
day. And
absolutely.
how we manage our lives, right? Like because relationships are hard for us. And I know you mentioned like romantic relationships were hard for you. It probably still are in some ways. But something that you've like that kind of triggered getting diagnosed. And again, like you only know what you know based on what you grew up in. So you don't know what's normal or what's not normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is recovery like so far look like for you? I know you're still kind of in like early on in your journey, but are you seeing a big change?
I would say baby steps for sure. One step forward. Wait, maybe two steps forward at this point, one step back.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
kind
what
of
is
what it
it?
feels
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Um, so I actually just read this book called "The Power Is Within You" by Louise Hayes. It's a
I've
really good
heard of
book.
that.
Yeah, she was a really powerful one. I think she passed away, but she has the Hay House Publishing, which is a lot of like self-help books around like they
Mm,
do a lot of books around like Taoism and different um Eastern philosophies, which I find very helpful for me. And she talks a lot about um you're gonna have the step back, but you can't let that affect you or do your best to be like, okay, well, it's just because you are making progress, but I mean it's a lifetime of patterns that you're trying to restructure. So you can't be too hard on yourself. It is what it is.
yeah, and you're doing the right steps to get there and you're
Yeah.
still following your dreams, which is amazing. And like
Hmm.
to me, that's what I love the most about people with BPD is how passionate we are and just like how determined we are to meet our goals.
Yeah.
And so just like you said, like you're just doing the grind every single day and it's paying off and that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Mhm.
And with I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I know for me like it's a grind. Like life is a grind and I do it every day and like just really see the payoff over time, but it's in the moment just like so incredibly exhausting. And I assume that for you there are days where you're just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is like how much effort I have to put in to like get to my goals."
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I say this all the time. I still have to live my life. I can't spend all of my time healing. And I feel like I need to spend
Mhm.
all of my time
Yeah.
healing. Like it takes so much. And I'm like, but I can't. I have to move through the world like anybody else. But it just feels like I do have to do a lot of extracurricular on the side. So it's like I've noticed what works best for me is if I'm always reading a self-help book. If I have something
Right.
that I can read at least 10 pages a day and I'm always looking for new
Mhm.
ones and I'll reread some and that helps me keep hope. And I think hope is such a good mindset to have in hopefulness.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, for sure. Because there's also just like so much where, at least for me, like there are days where I'm just like, nope, nothing's gonna change. It's not worth it. And yeah, to
absolutely.
have like any sort of even just like I'm not a reader, but I like listen to a lot of audiobooks. But like, yeah, to just have any story of like there's a hope out there, like you can move forward. I think that's awesome. Do you have any other books that you recommend for people for that? Any like ones that stood out?
One that I just finished is I don't remember the title. I wish I could see it right now, but it's
All
about
good.
the Tao. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it just talks about how living the Taoist way is. I wouldn't find. I wish I could tell you what it is, but I forgot the
You can go
title of
grab
it.
it if people are always looking for resources. So this is really helpful.
Yeah. So this is a big one for me. The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success. Deepak
Mm.
Chopra. Deepak Chopra. I listen to him. I do his meditations as well. Right now, I'm on the 21 Days of Abundance meditation. You can listen
Oh,
to it on
okay, cool.
Spotify. Um, But yeah, and just like for instance, this says applying the law of least effort. Like I will put the law of least effort into effect by making a commitment to take, the steps of I will practice acceptance. Like today, I just accept myself. So that's a really good
Yeah.
one. And then the Tao made easy. This is the one I just finished. This is a really good
Oh,
one.
okay.
And it kind of explains like how to live the Tao. And it's just really beautifully written. And then this is the one I was mentioning earlier. I just finished this one too.
Yes. Yeah.
The power is within you. Like this is really good.
Yeah, that's a big one right now.
Yeah. I just opened the book and it said, if you continually say, I hate this job, you will get nowhere. Whatever you are doing, bring love and a positive attitude to it. So it's just little things like
Mm,
that. It's like, yeah, if I'm like, oh, I hate this job, then it's just art and fear is a good one. I just finished this one too, and it's really good for artists and just kind of reframing because we're all afraid to be vulnerable, right?
yeah.
So,
And you need to
it,
be vulnerable. That's what's so beautiful about what you're doing is like the more
yeah,
vulnerability, the kind of more powerful and connection it brings to others.
yeah. So,
That's
and it talks
awesome.
a lot about like protecting your art, like it's a baby. So that's taught me a lot about, I've had to lose a lot of friends doing this,
Mm,
surprisingly. You start to see the more you put yourself out there authentically and like really go for something, it can scare people. And I'm starting to see
right.
that a little bit, like people that you were really close to because they're not doing maybe what they love, or maybe they are, but maybe they're just like, oh, you're changing. I don't like that.
Right.
And then, if I don't feel like 100% supported, I mean, I think there's always a place for constructive criticism, always. And I'm
Hmm.
open to that. But when I feel an undertone of negativity, I tend to pull away because I'm like, this is difficult. And I need people in my corner that are going to be supportive and loving, not
Yeah.
snooty.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, are those often people like back from Nashville or from like your other kind of adventures, or are they people in LA that are in the industry as well?
Oh,
Both.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's funny. It's like it's a lot. This is a weird industry that, if you're an artist and you're getting success, you do tend to see people kind of compare. And I
Hmm.
think like when American Idol and all of those things started happening, as great as it might have been for certain things. I'm not knocking people who do American Idol, but it does kind of put this weird, like, competitive
Right.
factor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're a better singer than her, so you deserve to be a superstar. When in actuality, look back at Paul Simon and, Grace Jones or Carole King. They're not doing crazy runs and technical things
Yeah.
necessarily. They are artists and
Yeah.
they change the world. They said things, they healed people. So that's art. It's not a
Yeah.
comparison, you know.
No. And the fact that people are unique is the best part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
what connects with me is not going to connect with you and vice versa. And so if everybody was the exact same, what's the point?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be hard.
So
Does that trigger your any abandonment issues when you're losing friends, or do you feel pretty okay with
yes.
it? Okay, okay. You're like, I don't
It's
feel okay with it
hard.
at all.
No, it's
Yeah.
hard. And it's funny, a lot of times it's as I'm growing, I'm the one that has to cut it off. And
Yeah.
I'm getting better at identifying people who kind of disrupt my peace of mind, or maybe it's an energy that I'm really sensitive to. Like,
Mm,
that doesn't feel super authentic, or uh, like they have my best interest. And I always want to be positive, right? And say, oh, and I always try to in the beginning be like, maybe I just need to give them a chance. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody is intentionally malicious. I think a lot of people are just living out their own traumas and they're
yeah.
projecting that and they're not maybe aware of it. And I have to protect my peace. I have to protect my energy. This is my life. So, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, my San culpa or intention for 2 years ago for like the whole year was just like I am worthy of peace.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it changed my entire life. Like because I just went into every interaction with I am worthy of peace. And is this bringing peace in my life, or is this bringing chaos? And if it's bringing chaos, I'm over chaos. I've lived enough chaos. I've lived 30 years of chaos. I don't need more. And
That is so
it
powerful. I love that.
it made such a big difference. But it was the same thing. It was cutting off people and things that were not in line with what I needed. And it sucked, but at the end of the day, like, I don't regret any of those because I needed that peace.
Yeah, totally. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. And that's a beautiful sankalpa, actually. I am worthy of peace. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my final question is always in line with that, focusing on the positives. What's your favorite part about having borderline personality disorder?
My favorite part about having borderline personality disorder. Mm, this is going to be one that I can carry with me on and on. Now that you've asked me this, because I have to uncover it.
Yeah.
I would say my ability to feel deeply,
Mm-hmm.
to really feel deeply about things. I'm so sensitive, and not everyone has access to that depth because we are going so up and down. And even I read this book, Hermetic Prophecy, and it talks about the baseline just, being pretty steady in
Mm-hmm.
that's the goal. But I actually really do love feeling the sadness and feeling the pain sometimes. And I also really love feeling that ecstatic joy as well. So I
Yeah.
think I don't want to go up and down all the time, especially when it comes to anger. Anger is no bueno
Oh,
for me. It's the worst part.
me too. Oh my God. Yeah.
But yeah, but I really
The
do love feeling. Go ahead.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. I think like the ability to feel that amount of joy and excitement and everything mostly outweighs the sadness and whatever, because it's not that I don't ever want to feel sadness, but I agree. Anger for me is the number one problem.
Mhm.
And I hate it. So what does that look like? How does that show up in your life?
Anger is when I am working on my craft. I tend to have a very strict approach to perfection, which perfection doesn't exist, especially in art. Or life in general. It is what it is. Nothing's perfect. But I have this ideation that something should look a certain way. And when I don't meet these random expectations that I've placed on myself, I
Yes.
get really angry. But what is under the anger is like fear, right? And not being good enough or perfect means that I won't be loved and I'll be abandoned. So that's where it shows up is like I'm so hard on myself when it comes to my work. And it's it's so interesting to observe my day-to-day borderline personality disorder and just like the ups and downs, but then within my career and the work that I do, observing doing things and then growing because we do that as humans, and it's the same with artists. Like the work that you're producing is a byproduct of where you are in that moment, mentally, physically, everything. So when trying to work on this, my hardest struggle right now is I'll produce something and make something in one place in my life, and then I'll grow a little, and then I'll hate what I made.
Ah, yeah.
And then I get angry that I made it. But you can't do that. It's a part of who
Hmm.
I was then, but I'm like, well, I hate that. I'm already over that. I grew.
Right.
But it's the journey.
Yeah. And
So,
that thing that you now hate, probably somebody else loves. And I think like you said something so brilliantly about I get so angry about the expectations that I place on myself. And I do the same thing. Nobody else is asking me to do this. Nobody else is asking for perfection. And I just beat myself up every single day about whatever this definition of like perfection or working hard enough is.
mhm.
And it's like nobody else is expecting this of me. It's just me. And I don't know how to get out of that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
yeah, it sounds like you're similar in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And a beautiful way that we could even look at that, well, if I'm trying to look at it, is we do have drive, don't we? It gives us that
Oh,
extra
for
little
sure.
of, like, people are like, you're so driven. I'm very driven. And I think it's because of that fear of abandonment. And I have
Hmm.
like such an anxious attachment to, oh, I need to be the best that I can possibly
Yeah.
be so I
Then
can be
people will love
loved.
me. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is a beautiful thing until it becomes really angry.
Yes. Yes. Well, and you're probably experiencing rejection all the time in this industry.
Oh,
And so
all
to
the
have to
time.
deal with that, oh my God, I can't even imagine.
It's crazy. Even within, I don't know if you've seen any of my visuals or anything that I've
I
done
haven't actually. I
visually.
just was listening,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I would love to. I'll include some. Maybe I'll share some
Yeah.
stuff.
So, I do all of my own creations, like my own styling and my own music videos and everything. But I put so much time into research and symbology and just different things, and I'll make a piece of art. And it takes a lot of time because, I am sort of independent. We're a very small label, so I don't
Right.
have
Yeah.
that much support. And I will love it, and then people will love it. But then, you grow, right, in the industry.
Hmm.
So now I'm moving up, talking to some bigger labels, and they're like, you need a lot of work and stuff. So it's like,
And you're like,
it's the
what?
rejection.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I put my heart into that. But understanding that it's a part of the journey. And as you grow, they're always going to say, oh, you need to be better. You need to be better. And just accepting that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there are people that are saying that to Adele, Lady Gaga, whatever. Like they're still beating themselves up about something that they did 6 months ago and don't like anymore. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. That's a part of it.
100%.
You're experimenting because actually art is play, right? We're just playing. We're
Hmm.
children. We're just
Right.
playing around in the sandbox. What else is there?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alana. This has been so much fun. I will link is Spotify the best place to find you?
yeah, Spotify, Instagram and my YouTube if you do want to check out
Yeah.
some of those visuals that I made. So
I'll link all of those things and then I'll add them. What's your Instagram though? I think that's where most people will probably find you.
yeah, it's Alana, Alana.Hil. One L is important. So
1L. Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Amazing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then I will also post all of the things about your tour in Europe coming up in
Yeah.
February, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I'll email all of the dates to you.
Yay! Fantastic. They'll be in the notes. So thank you so much, Alana. It's been so nice getting to know you, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
So, yeah. Thank you so much for listening to the Super Feeler podcast. This episode was recorded on the traditional and unceded territory of the Matsqui and Sumas First Nations. If you'd like to learn more about the Super Feeler podcast, share your story, or participate in the Super Feelers Club, which is our peer support group, it's totally free, virtual, and open to anyone who experiences intense emotions or has borderline personality disorder, please check out the link in our show notes or go to laurieedmondson.com. If you would like to support the show, we would very much appreciate it. There's an option to do monthly small donations at whatever denomination you'd like, and you get bonus content, extra resources, and extra connection to me. That can be found on patreon.com/superfeeler, or again in the notes below. Thanks again, and have a great day.